with the Egyptian conversation, with that different technology, do you feel like with how long this world hasn't been around that we were more advanced at one time than we are now?
I think it's easy. I mean,
Because to put it in context, like they say the world has been around for 1 billion years. We are, if you even go back a few thousand years, it's just like the things that we discover from the past. It's just like it's almost like we've been here before. Like things are reoccurring, and to me, it's like I don't know whether it's a cycle where it's just like all right, we go through a stone age, and then we get to a point where we're so advanced that we just that we dissipate, and then we restart all over again. To me, it's just so interesting because writing didn't come about until like I think how many years ago? First I think the first book was the Book of Babylon. But that was the first like actual written piece of like
yeah, I think
literature.
some of our earliest writing, I believe, are Babylonian
Yeah, from the
or
Sumerians.
Mesopotamian.
Yeah, so
Um,
the
yeah,
Sumerians was the first ones to write. But when I went on this journey of history, when I realized about like 75% of our history wasn't even recorded, I'm just like, how can you really understand a book if you don't have 75% of the content there?
yeah. I mean, so much of our history. I mean, even if you look at it from like a biblical perspective, right? I mean, the entire book of Genesis was written by Moses. I mean, Moses doesn't come along until the book of Exodus, right? There's Moses doesn't come along until after delivering, the Israelites from 400 years of slavery. Like there has been generations and generations, and those generations, mind you, if you go back and read, those generations were a lifespan of 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 900 years each generation. So you're talking about almost 1,000 years on some generations, and like there's a very long period of time there from the idea of creation up until like that time. So like you have this entire creation story and you have this entire early origin story that all takes place that is communicated to, Moses who writes that down. It's not active writing of like, it's not diary post of like this happened today, or here's a historical record of the events that took place, in this month, the king of Xerxes, right? Like it's very, it is, according to like the Torah, it is like it's delivered from God to Moses, but you have all this time and we don't know, from an evolutionary standpoint, the date keeps getting pushed back further and further. Now they're saying um, functional humans, not like not like early mid species, but like humans like us today, up to 350,000 years ago. I mean, that's a long time. I mean, that means that we've really only captured something like 17% of human history. I mean, that's wild. So we really don't know. And I mean, I feel like there's always two ways of looking at it when we talk about like history and talk about science, and you have like a more, you have that biblical like religious viewpoint, which is one way of looking at it, and then you have the more like common scientific viewpoint from an evolutionary standpoint.